name is Tamara, and this is episode 26 of the Caffeinated Craft Mamas podcast. My podcast all about my knitting, crocheting, and bookish life in Southwest Missouri, where I live with my partner Richard, our 3 kids, and our dog. How have you all been? It has been about 40 days since I've podcasted last, and I wanted to go ahead and pop in here and get a podcast done really quick because I have a crazy rest of the week. And next week is looking equally crazy, so I wanted to get time to pop in and check in with you guys and see how you're doing. I have got 4 finished objects, a big pile of whips, some Happy Mail to talk about, as well as some future knits, and a book to talk about because today is Tuesday, May 9th, and that means the last book of the Stay a Spell series came out. And I woke up this morning. I get up every morning with Richard before he goes to work, make sure he's up and going and make sure he doesn't need anything. And instead of going back to sleep like a normal sane person, I stayed up and read the first 2 chapters of the book. I'm now wishing I hadn't done that. I'm wishing I had waited like Gretchen did, because I really just want to read instead of do, adult things like dishes and laundry and things. So I'm super excited and super bummed because it is the last book of the series, and I absolutely love this series. If you like paranormal romance at all, I highly recommend these books. They are spicy yet sweet. I love all the characters. I'm just super happy about these. The last book in the series, the 5th book, was not my favorite, but other than that, I have not been disappointed with the books at all. And there's always that one book, right? I mean, she's writing books for everybody. There's always going to be one book in a series that isn't your favorite. Okay, so we're going to talk about finished objects. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to talk about ads on YouTube, guys. Oh my goodness. So I was rewatching the last episode, just the middle chunk of it, to make sure I had like all the whips that I talked about. And seeing what I had progress on and what I didn't. And I literally got interrupted by 3 ads while that was going on. And that was a little aggravating for me because it's like I didn't realize there were so many ads popping up. So I really apologize about that. I'm gonna see if I can go in. I think there's a setting on YouTube where I can go in and just have them put ads at the beginning and the end, because I'm not getting paid for those ads, and they literally in the 20 minutes I watched interrupted me 3 times. That's a little aggravating. So I will see what I can do about that. Also, another randomness, because we're just full of randomness this morning, just to throw that out there. I have blue hair now. I am really loving it. This time of year always makes me want to chop all my hair off. Growing up, I had like super short hair. I had like pixie cut short hair most of my young adult life. And so this weather being hot always makes me want to chop all my hair off. Especially since we are probably going to go get Jade's haircut. Hers has grown really long and she wants to donate it, which I thought was very sweet. So she's going to go like chin length or maybe a little bit shorter. And that's really making me want to just chop all this off. Because I get so hot, and I'm one of those people that when I get warm and I get too hot, I get real nauseous. So I absolutely hate being hot. So anyway, I have given myself a 2-week deadline. If in 2 weeks I am still convinced that I need to cut my hair, I will go do it, because I have a tendency to be a little impulsive. So I have to give myself deadlines like that and be like, listen, if you still want to cut your hair in 2 weeks, then you're probably going to be okay with it long term. So yeah, that was a little bit of a rabbit hole. Also, this is like the 3rd time I've videoed this intro. And so I keep forgetting things because I've already talked about them, even though you guys aren't seeing it. If you would like to follow me on social media, please feel free to do so. I am the caffeinated_craft_mama over on Instagram. Also, please subscribe, hit like, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think of the episode. I love interacting with you guys either here or over on Instagram. It's gonna be a long day, y'all. Okay, So let's talk about finished objects. The first finished object I want to talk about is in my lap. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it because it's hot. I actually tried to wear this. It's my Salty Air top for the wedding last month. I finished it. And I tried to wear this for the podcast, and we filmed the intro and I was already sweating. So I took it off, which makes sense because it's an alpaca, linen, and silk blend. So of course it's going to be hot. But guys, and I'll pop photos in here of me before the wedding. I love this sweater. It was so much fun to knit. It's just so drapey, so lovely. The alpaca does not itch like I thought it would. The weather the day of the wedding was like a high of 56 and really low humidity, so it was perfect weather for a long sleeve sweater. I got tons of compliments on it. It was just great, and I cannot wait to knit another one of these. I am already planning on knitting a second one that will be short sleeved. I will knit this one to pattern because I think this would be something that in like a good sock yarn or even like a fingering weight cotton would be airy enough that I wouldn't sweat to death in the middle of summer. So anyway, this is the Salty Air tee. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend. Okay, actually we'll put that right there. Okay, next up are two finished objects that I actually don't have. I did get Richard's socks finished, so I'll pop a picture in here. In time for him for his first day of work, and he was totally shocked, which made my day. And he has worn them several times to work since. So it's really nice to have someone that is so knit worthy when it comes to socks. He absolutely loves them, and I think I finally found his perfect sock recipe. He likes those ankle socks, so I think that will be what he will get from now on. I am getting ready to wind up and cast on a pair of birthday socks for him and get those knit. I just have to pull some yarn out of stash. I haven't quite figured out what I want to knit for him yet, but I will. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. The next pair of socks I want to talk about are my friend Nicole's birthday socks. I'll pop a photo in here. She really liked them. I did end up doing shorties. I've never done shorties for her before. And I ended up doing that fun orange at the top of the cuff. Probably next time I make her birthday socks, I will do long socks again, but I just thought we'd try out shorties and see what she thought. She really seemed to like them. They turned out really cute, and I definitely have enough yarn to knit myself another pair out of that yarn, plus have leftovers for scraps. You guys know I love my scrappy projects. I spend a lot of money on this yarn, and I'm gonna get my bang for my buck. So like, we're gonna talk about scrappy stuff in a little while, but I've got 2 scrappy projects at least, and I'm getting ready to start a 3rd scrappy project. And then once I've done all that, if the length of yarn is longer than my arm span, it goes into a magic knot ball. And I've got like a 300-gram magic knot ball in a bag that I'm planning on doing just a straight corner-to-corner blanket with. Actually, probably what I'm gonna do, because I learned from doing Logan's corner-to-corner blanket, I don't like the giant rows. So I'm probably gonna do like 4 corner-to-corner blocks and then sew them together, kind of like I did a crocheted blanket for my cousin a couple of years ago. So we'll probably do something like that. But anyway, I have time. But I really want that money to stretch when I spend money on hand-dyed sock yarn. Like, it's going everywhere. Like, I'm gonna use every scrap of it I can. I hate throwing stuff away like that. So that's that. I'm a mess this morning, y'all. It is what it is. Okay, My last finished object is actually a test knit, because when I say I'm not going to do something, I turn right around and make myself a liar. So Kim of Kimber's Cozy Creations was needing some sock knitter. Okay, let's try again. Some sock test knitters. I typically don't test knit socks, and here is why. Most of them are cuff down. I am not a cuff down sock knitter. I am a toe up. When I saw that she was asking for toe up sock testers, I applied and I got the sock test. So this main yarn is actually some of Kimber's yarn. And I think it was like a colorway where she was just playing around in the dye pot. And then these two are left over from the sweater that I wore last podcast. So I thought they went really well together. They were really pretty. This is called the Making Waves socks. You can get these on Ravelry or on her Instagram. Here's the front. It was a new heel for me that I had never done before, and I cannot for the life of me think of the name of the heel right now. I can't remember. It's kind of like a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I'll pop the name in right here. I do like the way it fits, so I may do a couple of those. Everybody knows I love my heel flap and gusset, but because most of the time with Fish Lips Kiss heel, if I wear my socks more than once, it slides down my foot. But these didn't seem to do that. Shadow wrap heel, that's the name of it. So I'm gonna give these some more testing before I start making this heel very often, but I am really enjoying it. So yeah, those are all of my finished objects. Most of my work went into that sweater for the wedding. So that was where the bulk of my knitting time was. And I know we talked about it last time, but I had finished Logan's birthday socks this year, and I hadn't finished anything else. So with these 3 pairs of socks, that puts me up to 4 pairs of socks for the year. By the end of May, I would like to be at least 7 or 8 pairs. I should be at 10, but my goal is to have 24 pairs of socks knit by the end of the year. I've got 2 in my whip pile. I had planned on casting on more. I have 2 like in the bags with needles with them ready to go. I just haven't started them yet. Summer is typically when I do a lot of my sock knitting. That's just, it's too hot for me to work on much else. So I get the majority of my sock knitting done in the summer. So we're going to talk about that too in a few minutes. Okay, next up is my field day cardigan. It is living in my Happy Little Yarns pumpkin spice latte bag because we've talked about this. Pumpkin spice is life. And I think this sweater has gotten maybe 1 row done. I think, maybe. I did do a buttonhole, that's right. So yeah, it's gotten like 1 buttonhole done. Maybe like 3 rows. So it's not gotten a ton of progress, but I am going to show you guys anytime I do anything on a project, because some projects may only get 1 or 2 rows done on them. So I'm going to take a stitch marker and pop in where we are today, and hopefully next podcast I will have some more done on this. With William staying home from summer school, I have plans to make it so he's not just vegging out in front of the TV all day. If William had his way, we would watch Baby Shark 24/7. Baby Shark on YouTube, Baby Shark on Paramount Plus. We're just really into Baby Shark right now. And so I am going to institute big portions of our day that will be TV free, much to his annoyance. and I'm sure much to his fit throwing, but we're gonna do it. And so I'm hoping while he's coloring or playing Play-Doh, I can be sitting with him and getting some knitting done. That will give me some focused knitting time that I wasn't getting, and allow me to work on some of the projects that take just a tiny bit more thought, that aren't just straight stockinette. Okay, so there's my field day cardigan. Up next is my Midtown cardigan in my Porter Wool Co. Court of Thorn and Roses bag. One of my friends is reading these books, guys, and she messaged me this morning that she started the second book, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear what you think. Okay, so last time you guys saw this is a front panel. I was where the star is. So I've gotten a little bit done. One of my scrappy projects has taken up like 90% of my time. So this has just been some bathtub knitting, basically. No, I do not knit in the bathtub. What I mean is, when William's in the bathtub, we wash and do everything, and then he sits and plays with his toys, and I throw a couple of rows in on here. So haven't gotten a ton done, but I have gotten some progress. So I've kind of been in a funky mood when it comes to knitting, because I've wanted to cast things on, and I'm one of those people who, if I have another project lined up after this project, then it motivates me more to finish this project. So I have plans for a sweater to start after this sweater, and all the yarn came in, so I'm really excited about that. So that's kind of motivated me to work on this a little more. Okay. Purple socks. Living in my Lila Styles Harry Potter knitting bag that is all wrinkled because it's been stuffed in my purse. I have one of these socks done. This is Hobie yarn. I don't remember the colorway. So here's the first sock. I'm knitting these on size 0s. So these are 60 stitches for myself. I'll probably do 64 anytime I knit on size 0s for someone else. And I am all the way to the heel turn, and then I just stopped. Jade had a concert, like a musical type thing, that her school put on, and we went to, and I got most of the foot knit while we were there. So yeah, so I'm ready for the heel turn on these, and then the legs shouldn't take me very long. This will be pair 5 that will be done for the year, so that'll be good. And those are for me. The next pair are not for me. So these are living in my new White Clover Studios Christmas bag. She had some Christmas bags on clearance after Christmas, and I purchased this one. And I have decided that I'm going to keep my Christmas bags out if I'm making a Christmas project in them. I have another Christmas bag over there that I have some Christmas sock yarn in, ready to start socks. So yeah. Several of you guys know I knit, let's see, myself, my sister, my mom, my Aunt Holly. I'm planning on knitting a pair for a friend, Richard, and sometimes my brother-in-law. So I knit anywhere from 5 to 7 pairs of socks for Christmas every year. And my mom, my sister, my Aunt Holly, and myself all get semi-matching socks. So we'll either get all the same sock yarn. Last year we didn't, because I knit all from stash, but I've tried to make them so that they're all the same sock yarn or something like that. Well, Hobie Yarn had their Christmas sock yarn in glitter, so with Stellina. It's 73% wool, 25% polyamide, and 2% polyester is what it's saying, on like a super sale. So I was able to get 2 of each color, which hopefully will get me enough socks for this year and possibly socks for next year. So this is the first colorway, and they don't name their colorways, I feel like. Yeah, this is color 2. So there it is in the cake. And I just have a toe started. But I thought, you know what? It's May. Let's get these socks knocked out. Like, let's knit everybody's socks, put them in my gift box, and then I can do more fun things. Because I actually ordered a sock advent. I ordered Freckle Whimsy's Stripe a Day sock advent calendar for myself. So I want all of my gift knits done by December 1st because it's going to be all about the selfish knitting then. So yeah, here's my little toe. And all my stitch markers because I put in a stitch marker every 10 rows. This will either be a pair for Mom or Aunt Holly, but I don't know who yet. So yeah, in my fun little bag. I love her bags too. And she's a local knitter or local maker. And that's the inside. So I like her bags a lot. Okay. Those are all of my whips for right now. My frozen fractal sweater is still on the needles, but I have not touched it. So I'm going to kind of map out the color work and try to give myself goals to get that sweater knit and get it off the needles in time for Christmas. Okay, guys, here is where oh, I fibbed. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Dawson graduates from high school in 5 days. He is my youngest cousin. This is the last one of us to graduate from high school. And I asked him last year, would you rather have like a grown-up blanket or would you rather have a fun blanket? And after giving me a funny look, he said, fun blanket. I had originally planned to adapt a pattern that was a bobble stitch blanket into a corner-to-corner blanket. When someone on Lion Brand, I'll pop it in here, it's like Swish and Stitch, I believe is her Instagram name. I'll put her Instagram name down here too. Came out with a Lord of the Rings corner-to-corner blanket. It's of the original Fellowship of the Ring, the original 9. So I hopped on Lion Brand's website and downloaded the 3 squares that are currently available. Unfortunately, that means I won't have the blanket done until the end of the year because she's not going to she's releasing the squares like every 6 weeks. But I have started Frodo. So there's Frodo. And this is free, so I don't feel bad about showing you the charts. You can go to Lion Brand's website and print this off. And I am about 19 rows in. The big bummer about this is I like my corner to corners written out. I am horrible at reading charts. Like I can read them to write them down, but for me to just like stop in the middle of my crocheting and go back to a corner to corner graph like that, I can't read it. So I had to handwrite all of these out. Had I known about the blanket at the beginning of the year and signed up for her newsletter, I would have gotten them all typed out, but I didn't. So I had to handwrite these 3, but I'll get the rest of them, so it's really not that big of a deal. Okay, so let's see here. I'm not doing these quite to her color scheme, basically because I'm using stash yarn. I went through, pulled out of Mom's stash and my stash as much as I could so that I purchased the minimum amount of yarn for this blanket that I could. Not to be cheap. I'm not trying to sound cheap. I just really wanted to use up everything I had first. So here is the beginnings of Frodo. There's an ear right here. This is his little shirt. So I am really enjoying this. It is a lot of fun, and it's very portable because the squares are so small. They're only 25 blocks by 25 blocks. So I foresee having at least 1, if not 2 of these done before I podcast again. These have been my, this project has been my bus stop crochet and bus stop knitting. So I was checking the time to make sure I didn't have to go get William off the bus. But we've got time. So yeah, I've been taking that out with me every day and working on it there. Okay, so now we're gonna do scrappy projects. Excuse me. So you guys know I've had this Cozy Memories blanket on the needles for like 3 years. And when I started this blanket, I didn't know anything about superwash versus non-superwash versus single ply versus, linen and alpaca blend. Like, I had no clue. And we've talked about this a lot. I have a ton of not a ton. I have 3 squares in here that make this blanket to where I have to hand wash it and hang it to dry, or wash it on delicate by itself in the washing machine and hang it to dry. It's not going to be practical to make this blanket into what I wanted it to be, number 1. Number 2, when I started this blanket, I had no clue how to make adjustments to patterns. So it never dawned on me that I could have cast on less stitches and used less yarn. So long story short, I am turning this into a throw. And so I got the wild hair that I was going to do a square a day. I laid it out. I'll pop a picture in here. I had 30 left. And as I was knitting on it, I was realizing that it just wasn't quite long enough. So I went through stash. I did something I told myself I wouldn't do. I pulled yarn that I actually haven't knit with yet. I am going to knit with it. In fact, a lot of it is sitting in project bags with needles just waiting to be cast on. But I did pull some that I have not knit with. And I laid out another row widthwise and another row lengthwise. So I was doing 1 square a day and I was doing really good. I'll show you guys. It's these 2 top rows. Some of these are from advent calendars from last year. Some of these are just minis that I had, or leftovers from projects, or things that have been sent to me. So I got all those done and I ran out of stitch markers, and I decided that that was kind of like my okay to stop for a little while. I could have used like light bulb stitch markers, or I could have pulled from other Notions buckets, but I decided that 20 squares was a good place to stop, and that would allow me to have 19 more squares to go before the next podcast. And then I'm toying with the idea of an I-cord bind off around the edges. Part of me says no, part of me says yes. This is just going to be a blanket for me. Like, this isn't going to be something that I'm going to give my kids when they get older because of the non-washing ability. This is one that's going to stay with me. So I don't know that I would need the I-cord bind off, but then I get some of these edge squares that are a little loosey-goosey, and I'm like, well, an I-cord bind off would make that not so loosey-goosey. So once I get it all done, we'll see what I decide to do, because I-cord bind off is not fun. So we'll see. But anyway, so yeah, I've gotten 20 squares done and I have 19 to go. And it's really, really refreshing to know that. And I have all the ends woven in up to except for these top 3 rows. Everything else is already woven in. So that's exciting too. So I will take all of the stitch markers out of those and we will be boogieing on. A lot of these I knit in here. Then they go into my crocheted granny squares bag, which I'm going to show you next. And then they've gone into another bag that will be used for my crochet memories blanket. This is a blanket by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. You can go over to her page and find it. I have not started that blanket yet because I want to finish this one first, but I've already got 30 little balls of yarn to go in that Crochet Memories blanket, and then they'll go into my magic knot ball that I talked about earlier. And I was stressing out because oh goodness, what is her name? Natalie did a bunch of like magic knot balls and things, and was having her magic knots come undone and a bunch of stuff. And then Gretchen was like, why don't you just put a drop of Ray check on each of the knots? And I was like, you're a genius. This is why we are friends. Because I wouldn't have thought to do that. So I'm gonna get some fray check when I start that corner to corner blanket so I can have those knots be secure. Okay, so these are granny squares that I've knit. So like I said, once they go into my cozy memories, they come here. Or these are little ones that I was given. Like this was sent to me to make my own advent. So I'm just gonna show all these to you guys. And then I will weave in the ends on these ones while I am editing this podcast, probably. And they'll go into a bag that I have upstairs that's got probably 30 more of these. So Melissa was telling me about a way that you can sew these together. So what I would do is I would put like a border, probably black, around each block, and then you do a zigzag stitch to sew these together. So I'm wanting to do some experimenting with that. Like I want to just do some plain granny squares in like scrap sock yarn and like throw it in the wash and like see how well it's going to hold up. But I'm really intrigued by that. And I'll put the name of the person who I saw the video for. I saw it on Instagram. So you guys can go check it out. We're almost there. I love this yarn. I have a whole nother skein of this yarn and I have a fun project ready for that. Three more. So yeah, I have gotten a ton of scrappy projects done, which I had kind of put those to the back burner for a while. So it was kind of nice to pull them to the forefront and just be like, okay, I'm gonna do one square a day and get it done. So that is all of my current whips, all of my scrappy time, and all of my finished objects. I've got some future knits and some happy mail to talk about. And then I've already mentioned the book, so I probably won't talk about it again. And then life and junk, and we'll be done. So, future knits. Okay, first of all, I saw this cardigan on Instagram. It was called the Le Pouf cardigan. And it's just this really pretty, just simple, open front cardigan that's a fade. And I had it's Winter in Valaris by Fangirl Fibers. And it's gray with pops of like purple and magenta and blue. And so I thought, well, let's find a fade for this. So Kimber had Whip It Out. And I had bought this just on a whim before I stopped buying yarn. So I put these two together. And I was like, well, look at that. I love that. Then I'd also ordered Loot Llama. I have no idea what this is actually from. I think it's like some kind of video game. And then I was like, well, look at that. And I was like, man, I love that. So I messaged Kim. I was like, hey, I'm looking for something to complete this fade for this sweater. Can you dye me something up? So she did. She called it Midnights. So this is almost a total sweater of Kim's Cozy Creations. The only one that's not is the top. And I'm having a really hard time here, y'all. So that will be the fade. So what I'm thinking is, let's just hold this up here. I mean, just look at that. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. So what I'm thinking is I will do these into the fade, and then I will do the button band and the collar and the cuffs in like a dark charcoal gray. That's what I'm thinking. But it's just going to be so pretty. And I'm so excited. So this is what is going to be started when I finish my Midtown cardigan, to kind of give me that boost to get to work, because I really want to start this. Aren't they pretty? If you don't follow Kim, I highly recommend it. She dyes gorgeous yarn and is a lot of fun just to talk to. I actually messaged her because I'm doing something a little crazy and I needed some advice, and she was super helpful. Oh, and this is in my another White Clover Studios bag. This is my peach bag. I love this bag too, so much. Okay, so yeah, there's that. I am going to hopefully start, when I finish my field day cardigan, my Christmas Ariana cardigan. I'm going to pop a photo in here. Once I get all the yarn, I will show you guys what that is going to look like. But I'm super excited for it because I'm going to do red and white, and then I'm going to do green. But half of the green, or half of the squares, will be like a Christmas green, like a traditional Christmas green, and the other half of the squares will be Grinch green. I love the Grinch. I loved the movie growing up. I love all of the movies. Okay, Jim Carrey's movie is my least favorite. Sorry. I know that's an unpopular opinion. People either love it or hate it. But I love the new cartoon that they came out with, and I love the original cartoon. I used to be able to quote you the whole book. So I'm super stoked about this cardigan. And it's a crocheted granny square cardigan that has knit cuffs and hems, because I, again, probably an unpopular opinion, I hate crocheted rib. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. So being able to do a granny square cardigan with a knit cuffs and hem, I'm super here for. So there's that. Then I got the wild hair that I need to make a scrappy shawl. And so I was kind of hunting around, looking, and I talked to my friend, Melissa, about her Stephen West shawl that she knit. She knit a Marled Magic shawl. And I was like, oh, yeah, I could do that scrappy, but I just didn't love it. Like, it was pretty and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And then I found his jigsaw puzzle shawl. And I was like, okay, it's 22 different size blocks. Okay, I'm kind of here for that. Then he came out with a new shawl this week, and I don't remember the name of it, so I'll put it right here and I'll pop in a picture. And it's literally individual triangles that he did in a pattern. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is exactly what I want it to be. This is going to be exactly what I want it to be, because each triangle can just be a different color. So I'm going to start a scrappy shawl, because every now and then I get a wild hair where I just want to throw a shawl over my shoulders and wear it like out to the bus stop or something like that. So I thought this would be a fun way to use up some more scraps. I actually have all the scraps over here, so I can kind of show you guys. But they're all like, they all have a kind of a theme. They're all my leftover like purples and grays and blues, and just kind of like my color scheme, you know? So that is the current plan. So that will be kind of a planned scrappy project versus a just scrappy project. But I like it because I can make it taller if I want to, add more triangles to it if I want to, and it'll just be really snuggly and warm and exactly what I want it to be. So there's that. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is an adventure that I'm going to film, and hopefully at the end of next podcast have a bit to show you guys. I saw the Grimm and Barrett book cover. I'll pop the picture in here. And I sat there and I was looking at this cover, and I thought, how gorgeous would that be in sock yarn? So I bought the dye, and I had yarn in stash, and I thought, like, just plain yarn. So I'm going to attempt to dye some yarn for socks based on this book cover. So I was messaging Kim about that and asking for advice because I've never hand dyed yarn before. So that is probably my plan for Thursday, is we're going to attempt for my first time ever to dye yarn, and we'll see how it goes. It's probably just going to be a fun hobby. I don't foresee it turning into anything more than that, but we'll see. I think it'll be cool, and just a fun memory, you know, to know that, hey, this is based on this book. And honestly, all of the book covers in the Stay a Spell series could probably be sock yarn. They're all beautiful. So I could really like dye some for each one. We'll see. We'll see if I even like it. I may not enjoy it. But so yeah, I'm going to give that a try. And I've got some plans for the kids this summer. Olivia and I are planning on doing some reverse tie-dye, where you take a black shirt and first you tie-dye it with bleach, and then you dye over the bleach sections, or you can just leave it with the bleach, either one. And I promised Jade we would do some tie-dye this summer. That's something we do every year. Planning on really working on my quilt this summer, getting that knocked out and doing a few things like that. So yeah, we've got some fun things coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. Richard's really liking his new job. Everything's been going well with that. We all were sick for a while, but we're all doing better. I feel like I say that every podcast, but we were down for the count for a couple days. But yeah, Richard's not loving getting up early because he has to be up at 5 to get to work on time, but he's also home by 2:45, 3 o'clock every day. So we've loved having him home in the evenings. I feel like that's a good trade out for us. So yeah, at this point I'm just rambling. So I'm going to pop off here and go put all this away and get cleaned up in time to go get Bub off the bus. So I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe. I look forward to talking to you guys again in probably 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, we'll be honest. And hopefully I will have a big FO to talk to you guys about when I come back. So please give me a subscribe, a like, and let me know what your favorite thing about this video was. Bye guys.